Well, hello everybody. This is the professor, and today we're going to talk world building, but more specifically in a role-playing game, we're going to talk about monster building. Now, with the advent of ChatGPT last November, now being available to the public, there's been a lot of excitement out there about, in the gaming community anyway, about generating new monsters, randomly generating dungeons, randomly generating modules. But random generation really is not good world building. For your players to be immersed in a world, they need to believe that world, and it needs some kind of internal consistency. Granted, I'm like everyone else. I don't like seeing the same monsters over and over again, and so I'm going to walk through the use of ChatGPT and a virtual AI or an AI image generator called Midjourney to really spice up your world, to really spice up your game. And you can do it quickly, and you can create even things that even you're not aware and will be surprised by when the AI comes up with it. So it's a really fun process, and it certainly makes your life faster, although you're not going to actually save a whole lot of time, because in the end, you're going to find yourself exploring a lot more, and you probably end up going down a lot of rabbit holes. But hey, as long as you're having fun, as long as everybody's having fun, then everything's good, right? So we're going to, in particular, talk about creating a monster in ChatGPT, but a directed approach, not just a random approach. And I want to really highlight some of the things that I've discovered in being able to create interesting creatures. So we're going to move over to ChatGPT. And for those of you that are not familiar with ChatGPT, you can create an account for free. I will warn you that at certain times in the day, especially in the morning, it can be very difficult to get on because it's very high traffic. And that's why I decided to go ahead and pay for my subscription so that I have better access throughout the day. But let's talk about your world building for a moment. You can certainly ask ChatGPT to create a random monster for any given setting or for any given rule set. And you can, of course, create some settings. So let's just do an example. For instance, I'm going to go create a random monster based on D&D. I'm going to do D&D 5th edition of a challenge rating. Let's make it to 3. And it came up with Gorgonix, the acid behemoth, and so on and so on. It gives you, and this is not a creature that is in your monster manual, and it does a great job of giving you a lot of information that can really flesh out your world, and that's great. And I don't want to diminish this aspect. If you're trying to prepare things quickly, this is a really good way of doing that. But for a world to be believable, characters really need to, or players need to be able to feel like there's a certain consistency, that there's a certain expectation they have when they're in different environments. It doesn't make sense to run into particular types of oozes, for instance, in the desert, or fishmen in the desert, for example. So to be internally consistent, I like to think about the environment they're going to be in, and therefore reasonably what they're about to expect, or what they could potentially run into that maybe they've never run into as a player before. So, for example, let's say that I know that the characters are going into a dark forest, or they're kind of a dense forest that is not traveled well, and so there's a lot of mystery there, but I know for sure that it's a dense forest. And maybe I don't have a particular idea of what the creature should look like, so I can ask ChatGPT to give me some creatures to start building off my idea. So, for instance, maybe I want some kind of creature that reminds me of a hybrid of a mammal and a reptile. Well, instead of trying to come up with myself, let's ask ChatGPT to do that. So I'm going to have it list 2 random forest mammals and 2 random forest reptiles. See what it comes up with. Red fox and a black bear. And let's see, those are mammals. I've got a timber rattlesnake and a green anole. Okay, so let's just have fun. Let's cross a red fox and a timber rattlesnake. Why not? Maybe a bit of a ridiculous concept, but that's the point. Is I can do all sorts of things here. So I'm going to go ahead and create this monster. All right, to create a D&D 5th edition, and I should point out that we can convert this monster into any system, and that's one of the beauties of this. I'm going to say a beast, to be specific, and I'm going to give it a challenge rating. A challenge rating of 2. Why not? And I could certainly up that challenge rating, and it will affect the stat block as well. So create a stat. Oops, I need to tell its conditions. And really, I like to type as if I'm talking to someone because ChatGPT does a really good job with that. This creature is a is an animal that is based on a hybrid of a fox and a timber rattlesnake. It is a huge, cute creature. Predatory. Okay, I'm just giving it a few descriptions here. So now I don't want to come up with all of the things that it can do, so I can ask ChatGPT to come up with some things. So provide I'm going to have it first provide a stat block, and then I'm going to have it also provide a description. I'm going to have it include include its coloration based on mimicry or camouflage. I'm gonna spell that. I'm gonna just say mimicry because that's a different thing for me. And mimicry, and tell us something about its hunting habits. Okay, let's see what it comes up with. So it named it, and it says here it is a foxtail rattler. It gives us a little bit of a description here. It tells us its abilities, and you can have it. See, it's not. I think here, it's giving us the relevant information. You can do a bite, melee attack. You can do a rattling. It has a rattling tail. It can mimic. It can, and it has keen senses. And so you can have it do different formats. For instance, you can have. Let's see. Can you give me just the stat block of this creature? See if it comes up with something. There we go. And so you have the readout for this creature. And now, I mean, I didn't have to do hardly anything to make this creature. And I have a creature that makes sense. It's got some interesting abilities that it's given it. And it is based it off a particular challenge rating. Now, the other thing I can do is, I've also got a description. And I can go to something up here. I can go to something like Midjourney and see what we can create with that. So I'm going to go to Midjourney now. It's in Discord, and let me pull it up. I'm going to pull it into the view of the camera. I apologize for all of the stuff that'll scroll through here because lots of people are using it. But if you haven't signed up for Midjourney, there's a free version. Initially, you can do up to like 20 images before you need to start paying. And I'm going to say that initially I just played around with it and I liked it so much that I definitely had to pay. So I just have the basic. It's like $8 a month package here. But you start out with Imagine or Prompt, and there's actually a lot of things you can do here. You can put camera filters on, you can do aspect ratios, that kind of thing. But the simplest thing that you can do in here is just describe what it is you want this AI to draw, and what it's going to do is going to use lots and lots of pictures, millions of pictures, to come up with ideas of what it should draw. So I'm going to draw a huge creature. I'm going to do D and D. Oh, I don't even need to add that. I'm going to just get a huge creature, cross between fox, a timber, rattle. Oops, I'm just going to say rattlesnake because I may try to put things separately. And then in a forest. That's as basic as we can get, and let's see what we get. Now it'll take for a moment, and it's gonna start making this, and I can go up here and I can track. Pull this down just a little bit, and I can go and track the progress here, and it'll take a few moments. There's a few things that I've made here. Okay, it's already started to make it. No guarantees. You may end up having to tweak your description. You may have to then, you can try again and try different things to see what it comes up with. But we're going to see if it comes up with anything interesting for our pictures here. And there's some interesting images starting to show here. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look. It's pretty cool. I've got, there's some, it wasn't exactly what I had in mind. So this is definitely something I would have to tweak. I was thinking more of a snake body and a fox head. And so I probably need to be more specific, definitely with this. But you get the idea. It tried to blend these things together and come up with some interesting things. And so you might decide you like this first image, and you can upscale it and download it, and it's yours to use how you want. So now I have my foxtail rattler and an image with it. Now I could certainly play around with this and get different results, but I think you get the point. In a very short period of time, you can make a very unique creature using ChatGPT. Now, let's say that I'm not in D&D 5th edition. Oh, let's try to convert it. Convert. See this creature. Let's do the Star Wars West in Games version. Let's try that. Let's see what happens here. And there we go. So if you are wanting to put this into your Star Wars game, you have to do very little to convert it from one game system to the other. I have to tell you, it's one of the things I'm really excited about this. I can convert to any version I want. And this is going to make my life a whole lot easier, especially since I do a lot of playing with my friends in Roll20. And as a result, I can make things quickly as a GM. And also I use it for other things. But I wanted to show this to you specifically because I think this is there's certainly probably many things I haven't even touched on or scratched the surface of in how you can design your creatures. But I think with a little forethought, a little with a mindset towards world building, you can create creatures and monsters. We could totally we could add the characteristic that this is a creature twisted by the dead blood of a god. For instance, the Scarred Land settings in D&D has a lot of that going on, and it'll give you new traits. You can say that it is a beast constructed by an evil mage, and it'll add those traits to the creature itself. So all you have to do is be creative in your mind, and ChatGPT will do the mechanics for you. It'll turn your vision into something that's usable on pen and paper. And it gives a thought towards balance. I mean, that's probably one of the hardest things about creating new creatures, is trying to balance them so that they don't completely overwhelm your party. With the word of caution, anything you make here, you should test it out, or you should be looking at it carefully and thinking about its abilities and how your party might be able to adapt to those particular challenges. But in the end, I think you understand that through the use of artificial intelligence, I was able to create a very compelling creature that would fit the setting that I was wanting to put it into, and that would make a lot of sense to my players and help continue to build that sense of world building, that they feel like the creatures that they're encountering are appropriate to the story that they are trying to play in. So anyway, we're going to stop there today. And I think if you have any questions, certainly hit me up in the comments below, and I'll try to get to you when I can. I'm going to make another series of videos looking at other aspects of using ChatGPT in D&D. But I hope to talk to you soon.